Hey everybody, it's Daniel here from Mobile Syrup, and today we're looking at the brand new BlackBerry 10 OS. This is going to be a quick overview of the OS as it stands for release date, because this is the final build of BlackBerry 10 before it comes to market, running on the final hardware of the BlackBerry Z10. So you see here, this is our lock screen, and you can either get to it by touching the power button at the top or just by sliding from the bottom. And this is a very gesture-based OS, so you'll get used to seeing a lot of gestures horizontally or vertically. So first thing you'll notice is that you see your notifications on the left-hand side. And there's also a quick camera access button that you just hold down. We're not going to get into that. We'll do that in a separate video. So let's open it up, and you can see that it just the window shade just kind of disappears, and you have this multitasking menu here, and this is active frames. That's what RIM is calling it. And you can see there are 8 active frames possible, and you see things sort of like halfway between a widget and a live tile. You see your recent calls, for example, and apps will push certain content. For example, the BlackBerry World will push apps, push movies, whatever you want. You can see how much free space you have on your Dropbox, things like that. So this is actually a really convenient way of seeing what you've just used. And when you open up a new app, for example, if I open up BlackBerry World and I swipe back from the bottom, it will show up on the top left-hand side. So that's a way to get around the operating system and see your last 8 apps that you've opened. Now, to the right of that, you actually have your app list, and this is going to be very familiar to anybody who's used Android or iOS. You can hold down icons and drag them on top of others and create folders, for example. So let's just try to do that now. And you can name the folder. And you see this is the new keyboard, and I'll show you that in another video as well. Now, if we take a look at the OS itself, you can see it's fairly similar to what we'd see on an iOS or Android device, but it's got a few features that really make it stand out, and something that RIM is pushing very hard. This universal menu at the bottom, you have access to your phone, you have access to universal search, and you have access to your camera very quickly. This is not editable, that's just there always. So if you go into your phone app, you can see here it's got a very clean interface. This bottom level toolbar here is something that you're going to get familiar with in the BlackBerry 10 OS. All the interaction is done at the bottom. There's a back button if you need it. There's no home back button. There's no hardware back button, so you're going to get used to having virtual back buttons with alongside other menus. You can see you can add quick favorites, and you get access to your voicemail. The dialer is nice and simple. Everything in this new OS is very, very clean. If we go into the browser, for example, you can see that it looks great. We can load up mobilesyrup.com in desktop version. This is running over the LTE network, and it runs really, really, really smooth. Pinch to zoom is effortless. You also have quick access to your tabs. You can open up a new tab and get going there. So lots of cool stuff. You also have access to different settings, and this allows you to set desktop mode on or off, which will default to a mobile or desktop version of your requested website. You also have the ability to turn on and off Flash, and Flash is something that has been going out of style in the mobile market, but this actually runs Flash quite well, so we're actually very happy about that. Now let's go into BBM, because BBM is something that also people are very, very interested in. If we go into, say, my friend Daryl here, we see there are now options for BBM Video and BBM Voice. Now BBM Voice was introduced to BBM in late last year for older versions of the BlackBerry phone, but now this is upgraded to BlackBerry Video, and we can test this out in a later video as well. I don't really have anyone to test it with. Unfortunately, this is still pre-release time. You also can access side menus here. You can ping people, and you can send them things like files. There's lots of stuff you can send them over BBM. So it's more than just an instant messenger, platform now. This is kind of expanding into a social platform, including voice and video, as well as file access. Now, if we take a look at the keyboard, I'm just going to show you quickly the keyboard, because we're going to go do this in a separate video, but I'll show you exactly how it works. So you see here, there's always the most likely word at the bottom, and that's the space bar. So if you tap that, it'll always go to the most likely word. And then this Swift key enabled, or Swift key powered keyboard rather, shows you 3 possibilities. You can actually change that in the settings, but it shows you 3 possibilities, and you can just swipe up in that general area if you want to add that word to your sentence. And you can also swipe down to change quickly between the the keyboard and the settings or symbols menu. And if you want to just hold down on a word, for example, so if I want to capitalize the letter V, I just hold it down, and if I hold it down for even longer, then I get to an alternate menu. So some of these will have alternate settings here if I hold down on a word for longer, but holding down on a letter just makes it a capital. So let's back up here. Let's go back to the app screen. So we have a lot of first-party apps, and some that have been developed specifically for BlackBerry 10, others that are ported from Android. And there are a lot of differences between the two. So if I go to something like G-Reader Pro, this is an Android app, and it actually looks very much like an Android app and runs like an Android app. It's not quite as smooth as you'd find on a native BlackBerry 10 app. And it also forces you to kind of change the way that you interact with it, because there's no hardware back button on this, whereas on Android there is. So you actually swipe diagonally to the top, just like that, to go back in that orientation. So it's quite easy, but it just takes some getting used to. What this allows is that you can actually access a lot of apps out of the gate that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. Now let's go into the BlackBerry store. You see that things aren't quite finalized here. There aren't so many name brand apps, but you can see that RIM is selling TV shows, they're selling movies, and they're selling music. And music's powered by 7 Digital, and TV and movies are powered by Rovi, and those are really, really great to have out of the box on day one. There's also some name brand games, for example, Great Big War Game. There's going to be some Angry Birds. There's Pew Pew, which was available on Playbook. And you see, whenever I want to check how many notifications I have, I only just have to swipe up from the bottom, and you can see that I have a couple Facebook, couple tweets, and some notifications. Now, if ever I want to check out my notifications in more detail, I just swipe up and to the right, and that gets me into the BlackBerry Hub. Now, the BlackBerry Hub is actually kind of the piece de resistance for RIM's new operating system. You can swipe to the right once you're in the hub to see your individual notifications, or you can just see the consolidated version. And you see here I have system notifications, I have BBM, I have text messages, I have email, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and Google Talk. And you can developers can attach themselves to the hub and integrate their apps. This is something that's going to be very, very useful in the future. It's a great way of seeing everything all at once, and I think BlackBerry users, loyal BlackBerry users, are going to be very happy with this. If we go into Compose here, you can see that I can compose one of a number of messages, and if I just go into my email, for example, I'm going to go down here and I can format this email quite well. Now, the keyboard is something that takes a bit of getting used to, but one thing that you'll want to note is that holding down on a letter or on a word will actually highlight it, and continuing to hold it will highlight the entire paragraph and will make the right side menu bar come out, so you can cut, copy, paste, share, whatever you want. Now, the sharing menu in BlackBerry 10 is incredibly robust. It's actually one of the best that I've seen, because it allows you to share a number of things. For example, you can share text with BBM, text, Facebook, Twitter, Google Talk. You can also activate NFC, or you can just add it to Remember. Now, Remember is an app that's going to double as a to-do list plus kind of a note repository. It actually integrates with Evernote. So let's go into that very quickly to see what that can do. Now, you can see I have my Evernote notebooks here. I can also create a new entry or a new folder, and I can just say, you know, take dog for walk. And I can set a due date. That's going to be on the 31st, and I'm going to put it in unfiled, and there you go. It's now saved. I can also look at my different folders, or I can go individual entries. Now the same thing goes for Docs2Go. Now Docs2Go is a company that, or it's an app that RIM invested in and has now fully integrated. You can add, create docs, you can create Excel spreadsheets, and you can edit PowerPoints right in the app itself, and it's extremely convenient. And this is just a way of, this is just an example, but you can see that you can edit and format things just as you would in Microsoft Word, and it's actually very, very, very well done. You can format things incredibly granularly, and there's lots of font options, for example. Well, there's only 4, but there's more than enough for this basic editing suite. Now, if we go back to the app list, you can see that Twitter and Facebook have been integrated. Now, we're not going to show you those for now because they are not final builds, and they're not really indicative of what you'll find on launch day. But we will show you in photos. Now the photo gallery is interesting because what it allows you to do is edit photos based on what RIM thinks people are going to want to do. And let's just turn it to the landscape mode here. Come on, there you go. So you can see that you have the ability to add filters to each of your photos. There's also the ability to kind of add more scenes and whatnot. You can create cartoons, for example. But the more powerful features here are definitely the exposure settings. The auto enhance mode is fantastic. You can edit brightness, white balance, contrast, for example. You also can crop and rotate as well, and you can make your photos into specific aspect ratios if you want. Now, when you're done and you're in landscape mode, I find it very kind of tricky to swipe up from the left or right, because if you swipe from the bottom of the phone, it doesn't work. You actually have to swipe from the perspective bottom, which is a little bit tricky, but you'll get used to it very quickly. Now, BlackBerry 10 also has the ability to take very, very, very good photos. Now, let's get into the camera app. Now, we'll do a separate camera overview, but let's just show you quickly how easy it is to take photos. You just tap and photos are taken very, very quickly. Now, if you want to set, if you want to change the focus, for example, you just hold it down and you move to where you want to focus on, and you let go, and it tries to focus on that area, and then you just snap your photo. So that's a really easy and convenient way of doing this. Now, let's go on to something else. Rogers and Bell and Telus all integrate their own apps here, and you can see I have my Rogers One number. You also have the ability to see your live TV anywhere if you're on Rogers. Now, you saw that I just got a notification, and you'll see that the red light is going to blink, and I can actually access the notification here, and that's quite convenient. You can just see whenever you get a notification, you just scroll up and you peek to see what you have, and that's that. So this interaction is, you know, an incredible way of using a new OS. It's quite brilliant, and I really, really like it. So let's look at the settings, and you go into the settings and see that this is very, very normal for BlackBerry users, and something that you'll be very familiar with. Of course, you can edit your notifications, but there are no granular vibration notification settings the way that you had in BlackBerry OS. So you can't make your text messages vibrate 3 times and your BBMs twice, for example. I think they're just trying to simplify things, but it works quite well for what it is. You can see your virtual back button appears whenever you need to go back, and you can add lots of different accounts. Display, for example, you can edit the brightness, you can change your screen lock. There's no need to have a BlackBerry a BIS account or a BIS plan if you don't want to use BBM, but you still need a BIS account for BBM, and everything else is kind of integrated here. You have your BlackBerry ID, which will sync your contacts, your BBM contacts, for example. You have BlackBerry Protect, which allows you to back up all your stuff. You actually have to sign up online now. You can't do it on the phone itself, which is a little bit annoying. And if you go to network connections, you can see that you can actually edit your specific network, and obviously this runs on LTE, and you can change whatever you want. You can edit APNs. So also we have Bluetooth 4.0, and we have NFC capability, as well as mobile hotspot and internet tethering. And of course, if you're running a BlackBerry Enterprise Service account, you have access to VPNs and whatnot. So everything is, you know, fantastic and very polished, and a really, really great experience. I really like BlackBerry 10 from what I've seen so far. We'll do a bit more in-depth look at it in the coming weeks. We'll do separate videos for the keyboard, separate videos for the camera, and showcase some of the better apps. And you can see there are plenty of apps available on even before launch day. I'm filming this the day before the BlackBerry 10 phone is announced, but we already have apps from CBC, we have Flickster, we have Slacker Radio, which is a great music service, we have TuneIn Radio, and all of these are native BlackBerry 10 apps. So if you take a look, you can see that you know, you have lots of great design here. It's very unified, looks very much like a BlackBerry 10 app. Excuse the fingerprints. The screen is a little bit fingerprint heavy, but I've just been using it for a lot. And you see here, I'm just going to send myself a text message and we'll see just how it looks. So if I send myself one here, and you see your notification that Spark comes up on the app screen itself, and you can see here you can interact and send people messages or videos or photos or whatever you want, and always you have access to your notifications very, very, very quickly. So that's been a quick look at the BlackBerry 10 OS. We'll come back in a few days with some more content for you, but hope you like this, and check out our other videos including the BlackBerry Z10 hardware review. Thanks for watching. I'm Daniel from Mobile Syrup.